Oh, hello. I forgot to put myself on the screen. Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. How are you doing? I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Today, we have a very special program. I want to get back to reviewing conversion stories of people who converted to Islam. And for today, I have a very special person that I want to review, and that will be Cat Stevens, also today known as Yusuf Islam. Uh, while you're here, please don't forget to like this live stream and to leave a comment and to share it with your friends and family and uh, neighbors and grandparents and grandchildren and all that. And with that, you will be helping the reach of this very important work. So, um, I I am under the assumption that everything sounds okay and looks okay. If everyone can confirm that, we will then go ahead and start with everything that I'm doing. If I had a team with me that took care of all these things, I wouldn't have to ask if everything sounds all right and looks all right. But as far as I can tell, everything looks all right and sounds all right. If my sound level is okay, that should be fine. I don't need to look perfect. It's all right. I will make peace with that. Hello, hello, Ham Sunshine. Hello, Robert X. Hello. I don't know. Yeah, I'm never late. I have no idea why I'm late today. Uh, Sarah Rainey. Hi, Sarah. As always, Gedalia, thank you for being here and helping out. Opal Ian said, love from Sweden. So, Cat Stevens is actually very personally important to me. I feel like it has some personal significance. I don't know how many of you listened to Cat Stevens or still listen to Cat Stevens. Uh, I grew up in Germany, and from fifth grade on, I remember um, in music class at school in Germany, listening to a specific Cat Stevens song because our music teacher would, would make us listen to it, and then he would play it and he would make us sing the song. And that song was "Morning Has Broken" by Cat Stevens, which is, of course, a very peaceful song with a very religious nature and religious undertones. And I really loved that when I was. At that age, when I was a dumb little kid in fifth grade, I really thought, "Hey, this song is beautiful. I really love singing this." Although I was supposed to be a tough guy who doesn't like such songs because I was the child of an immigrant and I was supposed to listen to hip hop only and all that. But yeah, I mean, at school we would do that, and it's funny. It's only later, a few years later, did I find out that that guy whose music we were singing is actually now a Muslim, and his name is Yusuf Islam instead of Cat Stevens. And that kind of was a little bit of an inspiration over the years. What I did find kind of funny is that over the next decades, uh, many people told me, "Hey, you know that there's this very famous musician. He is now a Muslim, and his name is Yusuf Islam." And this was usually told to me by people who had never heard of his music or who don't even listen to Western music. And I thought, yeah, yeah, you tell me. I know he didn't. Mike said he did not write "Morning Has Broken." I know, but he made it. He popularized the that version of it, and I think it's originally an English song written in way back half a century before him. But yeah, so his conversion to Islam is something very important. Now, the issue here with his conversion is that there is no complete, detailed account on why exactly he believes that Islam is true. There are some accounts that where he explains how this conversion happened and how he was impacted. And I remember that there was a personal experience that happened with him, which kind of made him convert. And I'm disappointed to know that there is not more to his conversion than that. But we will go through this together today and find out more. All right. Quickly, Hussein Iranjai said, AP, does Quran chapter 2, verse 24 allow rape as well? It does say that you are supposed to have you're allowed to have sex with you know those you marry, and those whom your right hands possess, which by Islamic terms is your female slaves. So that is a sexual violation of an inferior human being, is rape. And Faisal Haroon made a super chat and said, "Love from Afghanistan." Thank you so much. Greetings and from Afghanistan. You're still there right now. I hope everything goes well. I wanted to make a video about the Taliban long ago. I prepared it, but I never published it because I wanted to fact check it and redo it. But anyway, let's get to the matter at hand. By the way, for those interested, tomorrow I will probably make a live call-in show. So if you want to talk, you will be welcome to join me there today. Can we not do this differently? Maybe switch this around, switch this and put this over here. What the hell? Huh. It would be better if I could make this as big as, if I could make us equally big. Whatever, man. I believe this will be nice. Okay.
Particularly,
so this is a video posted on this Islamic channel, taken from Russell Brand, whatever his video
about the nature of Islam that you feel contacted you.
Well, I certainly wouldn't have been able to accept Islam if it was like full of superstitions and things which couldn't relate to the real world, right? And that, I would say, is the key. Because when I started reading the Quran, one of the things that just I woke up to was the Quran is full of directives to make you think, not to make you follow rituals, but to make you, first of all, think. So then it talks about, for instance, and I don't know any other scripture that does it to this degree, where it points you to the sun, it points you to the moon, and says, these are creations of God. And the night and the day is a miracle.
With all due respect, I really hope for more here, but that's not really. I mean, that's not really a great beginning. Is that it? I mean, it's just like the Quran makes you think. It points at the moon and the sun, and it says, "Hey, moon, Allah created it. Sun, Allah created it. Look at the sky. Look at trees. Look at the mountains. Allah created the mountains." I mean, that's not really an incitement to think. I read the Tao Te Ching, which is much more thought-provoking than the Quran. The Quran doesn't do anything to me. It just says Allah created this, Allah created that. That's not really thought-provoking.
And the fact that water falls and produces fruits and animals eat those grass and greenery and everything, all this is like signposts telling you that there is a creator and an almighty intellect behind everything that you see right there in front of you. That's very, very important, because it didn't mean I had to, believe some kind of unseen, dogma without having perfect evidence in front of me. And let me just tell you one more thing, because there was this.
What? I don't understand what's going on right now. I remember watching a testimony from him when he was younger, and it made more sense. What the hell is he talking about?
Missing part of the story, which was just before I got the Quran. I was swimming in Malibu in kind of, I was like, California there. And I went out for a swim, and there was no one else really swimming that day. So it wasn't clever. And I did that. And then suddenly, wow, I think I'm going to try and make my way back. And of course, at that point, I realized I ain't going to make it. You've got fractions of seconds to decide what to do next. And I didn't have any hesitation. And I said, God, if you save me, I'll work for you. And then a wave came, small wave, and just took me. And I had everything I needed now to get back. So
okay, I heard this story before when I was a Muslim, before I became very devout. I heard this story before in a documentary about his life and his conversion to Islam. And even back then, I thought, this is, I guess it's a nice experience to have, but this is not really, I mean, it's no surprise that the sea gives you a, a wave which brings you back to the shore. I mean, this is like the most common thing that happens to you if you are at the at the swimming in the sea. I mean, I remember a moment where I was with a friend in a very wild at a very wild coast, trying to swim against the waves, which was a very stupid idea, and it was raining. And that's not a miracle. I mean, that's just nature doing things. And begging for your life, I guess, is very significant, because as a human, you want to live. You have nothing that is more valuable than your own life in this situation. So I guess it is very meaningful, but does it really mean much? I don't think so. As for God created the plants and water and fruit and this and that, I mean, old mythology said the same thing. So I don't see anything so far.
People could say, oh, that's a coincidence. Hey, that's the most important coincidence that ever happened in my life. As they say,
it's still a coincidence, though, isn't it?
a coincidence is sometimes the way that God keeps himself anonymous. But this was no anonymous. This was me and God.
How do you know?
And later I found, then the Quran came to me. And later, of course, I find that verse in the Quran. It says, oh, when the storm comes and they're at sea, they make their religion pure for God.
Stop. Okay.
That's it. So all these steps and signs, I was reading and were bringing me closer and closer.
Okay, the verse that he's talking about is in the let me quickly bring this up. The verse that he's talking about is actually talking about something very dumb. What did he say? Waves, Allah, faith, God. When the waves come upon them. When the waves come upon them. Man, what am I even expecting here? Quran. Which verse is that? And when cannabis they supplicate Allah, 31 verse 32. Is this the one? 31 verse 32. What comes before this? 31 verse 31. Yes, exactly. This is it. Okay. Let's look at this for a second, right? Here. This is the verse that he's talking. See, this is Quran chapter 31 verse 31. It says, do you not see that ships sail through the sea by the favor of Allah, that he may show you his signs? Indeed, in that are signs for everyone patient and grateful. Now, every one of you who has watched movies about the ancient Greeks or ancient Romans or ancient Nordic people will will recognize that they also believed that their gods are the ones who are steering their ships, and they would invoke their gods, say I don't know, Thor, stop the storms, or Poseidon, calm the water, bring me to shore, and so on. These are things that these people said, which we have nowadays in pop culture in reference to old mythology, which nobody believes in anymore. So, and then the Quran presents the exact same narrative, and instead of saying it is Thor or it is Poseidon who guides you through the seas, it says it's Allah. So there is nothing at all special here. Now, this is the next verse that he's talking about. And when waves come over them like canopies, they supplicate Allah, sincere to him in religion. But when he delivers them to land, there are some of them who are moderate in faith, or who are weak in faith. And none rejects our signs, except everyone treacherous and ungrateful. This is, again, a very threatening verse, which basically says it is Allah who guides you and who makes your ships sail. And when he brings you back to the shore, when he sends you waves, and when he then brings you back to the land, you then thank him. But you thank him, but when you arrive at the land, then you are ungrateful, and so on. So this is not necessarily you get the point. I didn't reiterate the verse perfectly right now, but so he delivers them to land. There are some who are moderate in faith, and only those who are treacherous and ungrateful reject us. This is nothing very special. There are many things in the Quran which do not deal with this topic, but which deal with birds fly in the sky, or when something falls from the sky, then they then they laugh. Then they say, oh, it's just a piece from heaven. Or when the rain comes down, they are grateful. When this and this happens, they have faith. But those who are treacherous refuse to believe, and so on. I mean, these are very basic things that have basically nothing to do with what he read. If he reads the Quran through and comes across this verse and thinks, wow, this completely appeals to what happened to me back in the day when I was drowning, I'm sorry. That's not very smart. I have to say, I'm sorry, I don't know how to put it, with all due respect to him, this is not very smart. There's nothing here to believe. If he told me he arrived back at the shore, and then as soon as he arrived, he found a page of the Quran, on the shore, which had only this verse written on it, then I would think, wow, okay, that's impressive. That is impressive. But still, we need to talk. But simply reading the Quran later and coming across this, I'm sorry. This is not enough. This is not enough, man.
What could I do, Russell? What could I do? I had to submit. That's it.
Yeah, I really identify with what you're saying about recognizing that instead of looking for some peculiar dualistic proof of God, the lightning flash or the voice from on high, see in all things the divine beauty of nature and the potent intellect that we can read as being behind it. I identify strongly with that. I recognize those moments of terrified communion with God. And I identify too with what you're saying about feeling that God is all, that it seems like you've always had this yearning, this longing to be at one with God. I recognize that as well.
I always thought Russell Brand sounds like he's high and he overthinks things a little bit, but no disrespect. I think he's a smart guy, but still, I'm sorry. There's just nothing impressive here. So he believes something in his personal life happened, and he connected that to the Quran. And the Quran also says, the sun and the moon and this and that, and of course there must be a creator, and that completely convinced him and made him a Muslim. And that's just nothing to be proud of, to be very, very honest. I'm sorry. Moving on to the next video. And I mean, really, why does that lead you to Islam? And why does that make you a Muslim? You think about, oh, look, rain comes down from the sky, and then fruit grows and trees grow. And, well, there must be a creator. Okay, why does that lead you to Islam? What exactly is the reason to convert to Islam after that? I have said from the very beginning, I started this whole series of reviewing conversion stories as a response, actually, because people kept saying that people who leave Islam don't have proper reasons to leave Islam. We always present reasons. I want to, because of this, I want to look at conversion stories to Islam, and I want to figure out if people actually have a solid argument as to why Islam is true and why they converted to Islam. So far, I have not encountered any such good argument or evidence. And right now we are at episode 6. So I don't have much hope. Allah knows best. Let's see this one.
And why? Well, we've got to, for me, the Quran, of course, was an unknown commodity. I didn't understand what this book was. So what is it? And so from the very beginning, it's striking. From the very beginning, it begins in the name of Allah, God, the Lord of the universe. Well, when you come to a statement like that, immediately you're struck. So I think that from that moment, of course, we all look at books, and when we're trained to look at books and look for authors, even the Bible.
First off, it doesn't say universe, it says worlds. There is no such thing as universe in the Quran.
1,000 authors. I don't know how many, maybe you know how many authors there are, but I mean, so many have put their hand into writing the Bible. But in the Quran, of course, you don't see, that doesn't say written by, you know. And then you say, and then you find that it's Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. It's actually in the name of Allah. It's coming from God, and that's powerful. So powerful. But what's
I still don't understand how that is a good argument. I never did. If I sat down and wrote a book that has only one author and that is longer than the Quran, and it says in the name of the great maker of everything, and then it's just an amazing book, then that doesn't mean it's from God. It doesn't mean it's more significant or better than a compilation of books that were given to you by different prophets or different thinkers or different people or representatives or all that. This just doesn't mean anything. This is not an argument. It's not an argument in favor of the truthfulness of Islam. It is not an argument.
What was most powerful was the continuous reminder of the oneness, because every if you're looking at, which I've done, going through different religions, even yoga, it talks about oneness. It's all about oneness. And when I read that Isa, Jesus, he was talking about oneness. Moses was talking about oneness. Abraham, oneness. All this was the most powerful message. And I think you mentioned it to me before. You said, was it Tawheed? And it was the most powerful thing that
if it's oneness that he looks for, then what makes Islam so unique from, say, Judaism, which established the whole idea of oneness in those regions, to begin with? He mentioned looking into different religions, and Buddhism, for example. Buddhism distances itself entirely from the idea that there are multiple beings and this and that, and everything is just everything is one, and you are not to dwell on things and try to and pretend to understand the world and what is beyond it. Taoism is all about the one eternal force that nobody can ever comprehend. And in my opinion, it's much more sophisticated than Islam.
You learn is Tawheed.
On top of that, in Islam, you also have the demigod Muhammad, of course, who is supposedly only a prophet, but you have to acknowledge him and to obey him fully in order to be accepted to paradise.
And then, of course, the heart has to be moved. The mind is one thing, the heart. And that came with Surah Yusuf, Surah Joseph. And when and they said, there's always, and somebody told me recently, there's one verse that will open the heart of every soul. In the Quran, there's one verse that will open the heart of every soul. And there was one verse which opened my heart, and it was to do with the moment when Joseph was faced with his brothers, and they were talking badly about him because Binyamin was accused of stealing. And they said, it's like his brother before him. He was, in other words, implicating that the brother before him was a thief as well. And that was Joseph. And he was listening. And my heart broke.
I have to be honest, the Surah Yusuf, the chapter Yusuf or chapter Joseph, is probably one of the better sounding chapters of the Quran and better written, better read chapters of the Quran. That said, it's not unique. It's not told in a very good way, and it is an adopted story.
Yeah, so that was the moment where I knew that this book was for me.
Why?
And for us, actually. Everybody, there's a verse in the Quran for every soul.
Why?
But I knew that one was for me.
Well, it was for you. I guess it was for you because it appealed to you, right? It was for him because it appealed to him, because he related to it. It struck something in him, which of course doesn't mean that the book itself is an amazing book. By the way, these are times when these are very recent interviews where Yusuf Islam or Cat Stevens has become very peaceful and calmed down. I'm sure some of you might be aware of his earliest times where he was an advocate for killing Salman Rushdie, who wrote the book The Satanic Verses, and upon whom a fatwa was issued for his death.
Another participant was the Muslim convert Yusuf Islam, formerly the singer Cat Stevens. He also supported the death sentence on Rushdie. He was asked if he would give him shelter.
Yes, I'd try to phone the Ayatollah Khomeini and tell him exactly where this man is.
Would you go to a demonstration where you knew that an effigy was going to be burnt?
I would have hoped that it'd be the real thing, but actually, no. If it's just an effigy, I don't think I'd be that moved to go there.
Faye Weldon was also taking part in the programme.
So I do wish the superintendent over there would come over and arrest this man here for inciting on television people to violence, implicitly and otherwise. It seems extraordinary. He looked confused because it was a television program.
So on this show, he's actually right there live saying that he would wish that that the actual body of Salman Rushdie would be burned at a protest instead of an effigy of him. And later he explains that that guy deserves to die because of his mockery and criticism of the Islamic religion. Later, he turned around that a little bit. A few days later, I believe he said only under an Islamic state. And then he said something like, I wasn't entirely serious during this interview, but people just took it too seriously. And that's just weird, isn't it? And this is the same guy who sang songs like, I know, Peace Train and I don't know, Wild Worlds, one of my favorite songs. Or father and son, I don't know. What Islam does to people is really, really interesting. Really, really, really interesting. Welcome, Russia. What do you mean, welcome, Russia? Stephanie said sick. I agree, it's sick. Benny Wolf said, okay. Trevor Griffith said, never like his music anyway. How dare you? You might disagree, but how dare you say that about his music? All right, so far we have no idea why he converted to Islam, except that something interesting happened to him apparently. Now let us see even more, and let's see if there's more in other things that are going on here. I think I watched this when I was a baby. I mean, when I was younger. Come on then. Come on, dude. Come on, boy. Come on. What? Okay.
The force that propels his soul has taken him on an extraordinary journey.
Jeez,
More
look at the quality.
than once, he ascended the heights of stardom. More than once, he faced death. And more than once, he was saved. He was caught in a current and pulled out to sea. In 1975, just before he was to undertake another major tour, an anxious Cat Stevens visited Jerry Moss at his home in Malibu.
I think we were hoping it was going to be a nicer day, you know, and somehow it didn't turn out that way. It was pretty much like this kind of day.
With his hosts inside preparing for lunch, Cat decided to go swimming. But just as he swam beyond the surf, he was caught in a current and pulled out to sea.
Suddenly I realized I was fighting the ocean, and the tide was going that way, and I wasn't getting any closer. The fear of death struck me, and I suddenly held myself, and I said, oh God, if you save me, I'll work for you.
Do I not understand how the ocean works? Do I not understand how waves work? Isn't it entirely normal that at any point a wave comes and pushes you back toward the coast? Is it just me, or I don't know?
And at that moment, a wave pushed me forward, and suddenly I was swimming back with all the energy that I needed. And I was back on land. And I thank God.
On that fateful day, Cat Stevens made a solemn promise that he would repay God for sparing his life. but he had no idea how he'd fulfill it.
I was just grateful to still be here. Because I was a lover of life, you know, and I still hadn't worked it out. And now I was given a chance, a second chance.
Okay, no music. Music is haram. So
The form of a gift from his brother David.
He just traveled.
His brother David.
I'm just trying to.
For nearly a year, he waited for a sign. It came in the form of a gift from his brother David.
He just traveled to Jerusalem. And I suppose it was a mini sort of spiritual journey for him. But it's amazing that he discovered another religion.
I kind of almost tripped into it by going to the Dome on the Rock, which is the mosque there. I gave my brother the Quran because I felt there was something very special in the religion of Islam. He sat there and he read this thing, and he doesn't do anything lightheartedly.
And what he discovered in the Quran is a faith that he says is more familiar than foreign. Kat was learning that, like Christians and Jews, Muslims worship the one God of Abraham.
When I first started reading the Quran, it wasn't a sudden, you know, bursting light. It wasn't like that. But it was, in a way, an immediate revelation that the first name that I read in the Quran was God's name. You know, I never knew that Muslims believed in God. One of the things that really surprised me, which made me feel very at home,
Okay, I don't blame him. It's the 70s, right? So
was finding the names of all the prophets that I've read in the Bible.
For the next year, Kat Stevens privately studied the Quran. Unlike his earlier explorations,
again, a bad argument that Muslims often bring. I mean, just because you find the same God or the same God concept in this religion, and you find names of prophets, only few of prophets within this religion, that doesn't really mean much, right? I mean, do Muslims nowadays go to the Baha'is or the Jews and the Ahmadiyya Muslims and think, oh, look, they believe in the same thing that we believe in, and they even have the same prophets, so why don't we believe in their religion? But that's not really how it works, right? You have to you have to have a reason to believe in that religion specifically.
this spiritual journey was one he seemed intent on completing.
Come on now, freedom calling. Come on over and
Out on the tour he called Magic Hat in November 1975.
it's not time to know.
Auditorium. The Magic Hat tour came to an abrupt end.
And I know.
He basically stopped off.
And that cost me a lot of money as well. But
Okay, then he stopped music, and that's it. That is it. He had some interesting experiences, then he read the Quran, and then he stopped music, and then he became a faithful Muslim. Well, very interesting, man. Very, very interesting. What a disappointment. Why do I take everyone's time with these programs here? All right, my final hope is here. This Wikipedia article. I hope people did all of us a favor and broke something important down. Let's get into this right now. Right now. So this is from the Wikipedia article, and I hope people added important stuff to this. While on holiday in Marrakesh, Morocco, Stevens was intrigued by the sound of the adhan, the Islamic ritual call to prayer, which was explained to him as music for God. Stevens said, "I thought music for God? I had never heard that before. I heard of music for money, music for fame, music for personal power, but music for God? What? Am I the only one who thinks right now, what about liturgical music? What about the long history of Catholic music, which was specifically done only for ritual, for worship to God, or veneration? What about music done in different religions? What about later Christian music? What about contemporary Protestant music that is just made for God? I don't understand what's. Am I not getting this? The adhan is made for a call to prayer and is music for God, and I never heard of that before. Music for God? Excuse me, I don't understand. I really don't understand what's going on. What's happening here? The Psalms. So you have it right. People say the Psalms, right? You have it right in the Hebrew Bible, in the Old Testament. The Psalms were specifically written down and were sung for God, for worship. I don't understand what the hell I'm reading here. In 1976, Stevens nearly drowned off the coast of Malibu, California, and said he shouted, "Oh God, if you save me, I will work for you." He stated that immediately afterwards, a wave appeared and carried him back to the shore. This brush with death intensified his long-held quest for spiritual truth. He had looked into Buddhism, Zen, Qing, numerology, tarot cards, and astrology. I doubt that he actually studied everything. That's what everyone says, but I could be completely wrong. I don't want to judge him. Stephen's brother David Gordon, a convert to Judaism, brought him a copy of the Quran as a birthday gift from a trip to Jerusalem. Okay. Stephen said on BBC's Desert Island Discs, "I would never have picked up the Quran myself as a free spirit. I was more aligned to my father's Greek Orthodox beliefs. His brother's timely gift was quickly absorbed, and he was taken with its content, soon beginning his transition and conversion to Islam, which would change forever his private and professional life." Now, the thing is, I would love to see why exactly studying the Quran made him believe in Islam. I mean, this is all I see, and this is what I usually hear, right? I studied the Quran, and it made so much sense to me, and now I'm a Muslim. Okay, but why? What was it specifically in the Quran that makes you think, wow, okay, I just don't have a counter argument to what I'm reading here. This is the truth. Islam is the truth. I have no choice but to submit and to believe. Unfortunately, no such thing is here yet. Now, I understand that a personal experience, like your life being saved in a moment, might be very significant to you. As said, it is the only thing that you have, and you might feel very grateful about that because you think, oh, you almost died, and now you're saved because you prayed, and that is, of course, because of Allah. And that might be very significant to you, but first off, we have no way to verify that. And secondly, this is just a personal cognitive bias. Do you just want to consider that significant because your life is the most important thing to you, and you want to think that that is somehow connected to God, which, in all honesty, I find a little bit narcissistic, a little bit self-absorbed when people do this. Yeah. During the time he was studying the Quran, Stephen began to identify more and more with the story of Joseph, a man bought and sold in the marketplace, which is how he said he had increasingly felt within the music business. Again, interpretations. Regarding his conversion in his 2006 interview with Ellen Yentrup, he stated, "To some people, it may have seemed like an enormous jump, but for me, it was a gradual move to this." And in a Rolling Stone magazine interview, he reaffirmed this, saying, "I had found the spiritual home I had been seeking for most of my life. And if you listen to my music and lyrics like Peace Train and On the Road to Find Out, it clearly shows my yearning for direction and the spiritual path I was traveling." I still see nothing further as to why believing in Islam is the answer here. I guess if that's your personal choice, if that's what you come to, and if you're happy with that, go ahead and be happy with it. The thing is, Cat Stevens also later on created school institutions, programs to spread Islam, convert people to Islam, to speak about Islam, to preach Islam. And he still wants to preach Islam. So he's not just keeping it to himself and being happy with it. And since he wants to spread it, of course, it's our job to analyze his beliefs and to respond to them. Stevens formally converted to the Muslim faith on December 23rd, 1977, taking the name Yusuf Islam in 1978. Yusuf is the Arabic rendition of the name Joseph. He stated that he always loved the name Joseph and was particularly drawn to the story of Joseph in the Quran. There are so many Muslim converts who name themselves Yusuf. It's almost, you don't have to explain it any further. Whenever I hear of a new Muslim convert whose name is Yusuf, I think, okay, you don't need to explain it. I know. It's just one of those things that you pick. Although he discontinued his prop career, he was persuaded to perform one last time before what became his 25-year music hiatus. Appearing with his hair freshly shorn and an untrimmed beard, he headlined a charity concert on November 22nd, 1979 in Wembley Stadium to benefit UNICEF's International Year of the Child. The concert closed with his performance along with David Essex, Ellen Davis, and Islam's brother David Gordon, who wrote the finale song Child for a Day. After a brief engagement to Louis Whiteman, Islam married Fawzia Mubarak Ali on 7th of September 1979 at Regent's Park Mosque in London. They have a son, and so on. Boy, I'm so bored, man. I'm so bored. I am so bored. I am so bored. Okay, so this is it. This is it. Moment of silence for everyone who expected more, including for me. What am I supposed to say? I should have made this a short video instead of going for a long live stream. I don't. What? If by any chance ever this goes out to Yusuf Islam, aka Cat Stevens, dear Yusuf Islam, dear Cat Stevens, I would love to invite you for a conversation and ask you why exactly you believe that Islam is true, what exactly your reasoning is for the idea that Islam is true. I would love to, with much respect, listen to your reasoning and then analyze specifically that. Unfortunately, it seems that over the many decades, we have not heard of a proper reason why you have converted to Islam and why you believe that Islam is the truth. I only hear the wave saved me, or the sun and the moon were created, or things like that. That's not good enough. I'm sorry, that is not good enough. That is not good enough. Not good enough. What am I supposed to do? Black Angel said, AP, you are ruining his music for me with this review. Will now always have in mind that he's loony. I remember Salman Rushdie saying something like that he has changed. He's not the old Cat Stevens anymore or something. And I thought that is true because of his insane remarks about human rights and all that back in the day. He seems to have become better. Seems to have become more peaceful. He plays musical instruments again. He considered that haram and all that. Nowadays, he does it again. So that might be a little bit of a disappointment for people who think that music is haram and that he is, of course, a very good Muslim. I don't know. Maybe things will change for the better. And maybe he will think, you know what, guys, I was actually completely wrong. And it's time to admit that. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I know people send super chats. I'm aware. Faisal Haroon said, love from Afghanistan. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sumar said, always keep up the amazing work, AP. You've changed my perspective towards understanding all religions as a whole. Love and support. Agnostic from India. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I would always still advise you, recommend that you go and study religions for yourself or look into of knowledgeable experts on every religion. In the end, I study this one religion and I have somewhat of an insight in other religions, but I'm not a huge expert of all the religions and religious thoughts in the world. But thank you, I appreciate it. Subhadeep Ray made a super sticker, which I cannot see here. Oh, now I see it. It's a rose. Thank you. Samara said he does not represent Islam anyways. Nobody does. Nobody ever represents Islam. Only if they say something good, they represent Islam. So that's that. Yeah. But thank you. Samara has made another super chat and said, did you read about Musa Serantonio, the famous Australian convert and jailed for supporting ISIS, has just last week or so left Islam, as now openly inviting people in his prison to leave Islam? Takbir. I have. I didn't know much about him. I heard of him before, but he was like the most famous, most widely known jihadist in Australia, and very notorious for that. And he was very extreme in his attitudes, in his speeches, and I don't know, he had a very extreme position, and he had a complete justification for establishing an Islamic caliphate and fighting all those who disagree. But yeah, recently he apparently left Islam altogether after he read some Alexander the Great stories in prison, and he realized, wait a minute, these stories sound exactly like Dhul-Qarnayn in the Quran. And then he found out that the Quran can't be the origin of these stories. Those stories are the origin, and the Quran must have copied them. So he came to the conclusion that the Quran cannot have been divinely inspired because it copies a story which does not fit into Islam. And then he left Islam after a while, and he announced it. And there was a long interview of him explaining that. I would love to one day have a conversation with the guy. It will be very, very interesting. But I'm also planning on talking about that whole thing in a video. Yeah. I'm waiting for some scholars to join me for that topic. I could talk about it myself, but I would like somebody who is an expert on Alexander the Great and Alexander the Great legends to sit down with me and to talk about these things. Yeah. Jason Ingram said the Iliad and the Odyssey were also songs. Yeah, but they were more they have a different theme, right? They're not just devoted to the divine. They're more like legends, heroic, talk about a little timeline of events. So, but yeah. John made a super chat and said, yeah, epics. I can't think of the word. It is 2022, and I'm not able to send Super Gin through YouTube yet. Horrible. M. Doug said, my call while climbing once. My thought was, what would mom say if I went home dead? Adrenaline spiked and I made it. Does that mean my mom is God? Yes, absolutely. And you know what? Since he said that he was saved from waves, and he found in the Quran that the Quran says, and when Allah sends waves and so on, and then he thought, oh, this is proof that Islam is true. Well, have you ever heard of the song Blowing in the Wind? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. Well, whatever, you can come up with a story for that and conclude that Bob Dylan is God or something. I don't know. Were you disappointed? It proves he was mostly on blind faith based on superstitions and random events. Yeah, I mean, I expect this. I didn't expect something very thorough and intellectually deep, in all honesty. And maybe I'll get used to it slowly, that people just have these very bad testimonies. But I don't know. I have hope in humanity, man. I expect more. Warped Eyebrow 2 said, your opinion if your child one day followed a religion, regardless of what it was. I would be, I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't tell my child to follow this or follow that. I don't condition my children. I don't tell them, hey, this is bullshit, this is true, and all that. What's funny is recently, our 5-year-old son, who just turned 5, he actually asked me some questions as I was driving him home. He asked me, when we pray, does God listen to us? And I was like, we never talk about these things. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to say, hey, no, that's not true, as an atheist, because I always thought I'm not going to give them like definite answers that this is true and this is right. I'll just let them think and question with time. And he asked me, how long does it take to go to heaven and things like that? And I was just baffled. I thought, wait a minute, I never thought about how to answer what answers to give to my child if he asks me questions about the supernatural and all that. And I just thought, well, I just told him, look, some people believe in these things, other people don't believe in these things. We don't exactly know. You can figure it out by yourself when you're bigger and all that. And he wasn't very satisfied with that, because he wants me to give him the answer that everything will work out, and of course he will go to heaven and this and that, because he heard these things from somewhere else. But I don't want to indoctrinate him with the positive or the negative. I just want you to, give him time and let him figure things out by himself when he is as he learns to think with time. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing. Origins said, "Keep the change." Of course I will. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you supporting this channel. I appreciate your support to this channel. Rego Barnabas said nothing but made a super chat. I really appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Your support helps. It helps. It helps. I want to create more stuff. I have a project upcoming for which I will need to organize a campaign. I want to set up a separate channel with somebody different than me who will deliver a more succinct message that appeals to the public about leaving Islam and what Islam actually is. I will announce more about that quite soon. Jesus or Muhammad said, "Support for your channel and family." Thank you so much. I really, truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. It helps. It helps. It helps. I will do my best to give back. John Ward said, "Great questions from kids, though, eh?" Yeah. I mean, I know that he's brought up and he hears from other people while growing up in a Christian environment that there is a God and that he should pray to God and we should pray to God and we should ask for things and have hope and people go to heaven and this and that. But it was very surprising to me that I'm sitting in the car with him and he's in the back and he's just, "So Daddy, does God listen when we talk? And does he always, give us whatever we ask? And how long does it take when we die to go to heaven? How far away is heaven?" And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, where did all of that come from? I didn't expect all of this at this moment. So, very, very interesting. Why did someone say David? What is with David? David? I don't know if we're talking about the same David, but yeah. No, I'm not telling him to stay away from Islam. What's funny is he knows my the intro music for my videos, for my regular videos. I think when he was 2 years old, he started saying "Apostate prophet," but he would say it like "Apostate prophet" or something like "Apostate prophet." He was saying that when he was 2, I believe. Because he would hear the intro music of my videos, and then as soon as the video starts, my videos would always start with, "Hi everybody and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet," and he just overhears that every time. And then one day he asked me, "Daddy, what is Apostate Prophet?" And then whenever he hears that tune, he just says "Apostate Prophet." He doesn't hear it as much today, but it's funny how kids observe and take in things and reflect them. Prophet. Yeah, Last Supper Apologetics says it's the fitra, bro. Yeah, it's the nature. That's what you believe in Islam, that you have made this big agreement with Allah back in the day before you were created, and then you know that you're supposed to believe in him and all that. But see, Apostate Prophet is also in his fitra, so that's why he reacted very early to Apostate Prophet. That was one of the first things that he reacted to and that he reiterated. It is in his fitra, in his nature, which Allah gave him to acknowledge Apostate Prophet, and that is amazing, right? It's amazing. Yusra Amin said, "What are your thoughts on Khalid?" Isn't that a Muslim apologist's wife? I think they're not very fond of people talking about their wives, so I don't want to say anything about that now. Humphrey said, "AP, is your wife an atheist?" Yes, she is. She used to be a Christian. She is an atheist. It's actually because of that we met somehow online. It's an interesting series of events. God is love and light said, "Allah is one of what?" Do you want me to complete that? Tomorrow I will have a call-in, by the way. I think it's it's time that I do that again. I want to have a call-in session where everybody can call and we can talk and have discussions and all that. And then after that, I want to start the first ever only Muslims call in, where only Muslims can call and discuss with me and tell me terrible things. JB made a super chat. Thank you so much. I really, 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 really appreciate that. Thank you. Michael Stein said apostate preschooler. Yeah. JB added to that. Keep up the great work. Thank you. I appreciate it, JB. It's very helpful. It is very helpful. René Jan said, René Jan said, kannst du noch Deutsch und kennst du Pierre Vogel? Ja, ich kenne Pierre Vogel. Es gibt ein paar Videos, in denen der Pierre Vogel sehr, sehr geärgert reagiert. Finde ich total lustig. See, I can still speak German. Yeah, I still speak German, although not as smooth as I used to, but I can still do it. So, yeah, man. OG two right hands. Does the apostate preschooler have a channel? No. He's a very advanced kid, very intelligent. I have no idea why, but I think that would be a disaster to create a YouTube channel for a hyperactive 5-year-old who knows everything. AP, please make a video about abrogation. Will come. Cactus said, AP, create a community where your followers can share your views and have healthy debates and share knowledge. I tried creating that before. In all honesty, man, don't get me there. I recently wanted to talk about why I don't get all the things done that I don't get done. But yeah, I tried that before. It's just hard for me to manage. If I had a community of people who want to create and run such a thing, and I'm also only a visitor there, that would be nice. I can't trust myself running such a thing and staying on top of it all the time. When I take my time off of this, when I go back to doing other stuff, I feel very worked up and tired. And I don't know. It might seem simple, but dealing with all the things that I deal here is very, very exhausting. Marco Yuno said, AP, when are you having a discussion with Michaela Peterson? We are in talks right now. She said she really wants to come and talk. She wants to get a few things off her chest. So I found that very, very interesting. She actually really wants to come and have a conversation. And she asked me to just hold on for a little bit. She has a few other things to do, and then she will get back to me. That's where we are right now. We arranged something, but I don't want to announce anything in advance before we have it firmly set. But it will happen. We will have a conversation here on this channel where I can ask her lots of questions. She can tell us a lot of things about her impressions of with Islam and all that. It will be very enlightening, I would believe. Marisa Kennedy said, can you make a Discord server, AP? I actually do have one already, but it's only for Patreon and YouTube channel members. But even that, I'm not really running it very well. There was a point, I used to have a Patreon structure where I have different Patreon tiers, and they all had different benefits that you can subscribe to, because that's how Patreon is supposed to run. To invite people to join and to support the channel and give them something in return. But again, I dealt with a lot of stuff that really made it hard for me to stay on top of work and all of that. I realized that I can't really keep my promises for benefits that I would give people who support me, who support my work. So I decided to, instead of giving people false promises, to just remove all promises and to leave it at that until I have a better solution, and until I can, until I find a better way to work things out and to run, activities related to this channel. since then, it's just been, I don't know, it's been waiting like that. Yeah. I do need a team. I also need some motivation, I guess. More to that some other time. This was a stream about Cat Stevens. I can get back to that at some other time, specifically just to talk about that. 14-year-old fan. Thank you. Interesting. Oh, has everybody participated in the poll that I made, where I asked my audience where they are from and how old they are and what they believe in and so on? I made a survey, a poll for all the subscribers of this channel, which I shared on the community tab of this channel. And let me see what's the latest information there. How many people participated? 5,169 people so far have participated, which is great. And there I can see all the numbers of people who follow this channel, such as religious beliefs, where they are from, how old they are. I see there are only a few people who are younger than 18, only 9%. Good. Yeah, interesting stuff. I also see that America and India are kind of rivaling for the greatest viewer or subscriber count on this channel. I need to say a few words about that. I want more American followers. I have a lot of Indian followers here. So I just need a few hundred Indians to move to America so that I can have more American subscribers than Indian subscribers. If you can make this work, please just do it. Bowrider said, Russia, go home. Agreed. Okay, I'll leave. I can never put an end to live streams because I love them. You never posted the results in full. I know. I wanted to give it a little bit of time. I will post them soon. AP favorite Cat Stevens song. I think I really love one song that many people don't like for some reason. Moon Shadow. It's really I really like that song. I'm being followed by a moon shadow. Yeah, I really like that song. Wild World is a song that I really like. Lady D'Arbanville, which is a very creepy song, actually. Yeah, these are very much Father and Son and Morning Has Broken. These are kind of my top 5. Was that 5? I believe that was 5. These are kind of my top songs. I think Moon Shadow is kind of my favorite here. Western Protection Initiative said, never answered my question. I do not know what your question was. Is Islam an Arab religion? Depends on how you define it. I mean, right now it obviously isn't, but in its nature, it is a religion that really spreads Arab culture and Arab supremacy. In all honesty, it was regarded so in the beginnings. The early Islamic scholars even thought that it is only appropriate for an Arab to marry another Arab, and for non-Arabs to marry non-Arabs, because Arabs have a special status. They are more honorable, and all that. It's only in recent times that this whole idea became established that everyone is equal in Islam and all that. It's very funny when you read classical books of Islamic law. You will see that there is a concept called suitability in marriage. When I need it, I never have it here. But there is a thing called suitability in marriage, and there it is considered that an Arab is suitable for an Arab, and a non-Arab for a non-Arab, and all that. Which and speaking Arabic was considered a very virtuous thing, and was therefore adopted throughout the initial conquered regions of the Islamic world. Yo Yehia said, do you hate Muslims or just Islam? Or just Islam? I don't hate Muslims. I don't hate anybody, no matter what they believe in, no matter what they follow, no matter what they preach. People think they do the right thing because they believe in things. Okay, I'm leaving, seriously. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic, amazing day. JB just became a YouTube channel member and therefore I became a prophet. Thank you so much. And thanks and welcome to the club. How do you celebrate the Ramadan? I don't. I'm very free here. I don't. Eleonora said, have you noticed how so many prominent Dawa people converts are from the UK? I have. And they always stick out because Muslims have an obsession with white people who convert to Islam, which I find very ironic. Okay, I'm leaving. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Stay well, stay cool. Don't forget to like before you leave and spread this with all your extended relatives. Have a fantastic day. And as always, stay away from Islam.